And welcome to the Protective and Emergency Services Committee meeting for January the 2nd. I'm going to call our meeting to order. I need someone to approve our agenda today. Moved by Councillor Ramsey, seconded by His Worship. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest for today?
Nope, see none.
That's good. Councillor Brown is joining us online. Approval of our previous draft minutes for December 16th, December 19th, and January 12th. I could have someone move those. Councillor Ramsey, seconded. Is there any business arising out of those minutes at all?
Nope.
Councillor Drawn, you're good?
Good, thank you.
Okay, our agenda is not too heavy today, so we'll move right into reports and discussions. There's a lot of touching up and cleaning up, and Fire Chief Mamie is the first one to talk about the bylaw repeal and replacement for the emergency measures management operations.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Our last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, we came through with the repeal and replacement report for the emergency measures bylaw. What we didn't have with it at that time was the updated all hazards plan. That's since been completed. We just had a few outstanding administrative items to add there, and with the support of our strategic initiatives officer here, we got that plan put together and all department heads had their input. So the plan accompanies the bylaw for a full repeal and replacement, which was supported last month by committee here, and we just need to forward that on to council.
Okay.
And the report, or the plan and the bylaw are both attached. If there's any questions at all, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you for, I want to say thank you, because I liked when I read that and you kind of really understood what each department was responsible for, what the duties were. It's pretty clear for anybody that has an opportunity to go through that, to see what that consisted of. So that, I appreciate that. Are there any questions for Chief Mamie on the bylaw repeal and replacement process that we want to move on to council?
Chief, what other than name change, what else could you highlight in the public record on emergency management operations?
You mean just to provide some initial information?
Is there any big changes, or is this?
No significant changes really. Each department fine-tuned their points of aspect, and we have new department heads, and so the training was essential to that last year in May. But just getting their involvement and everybody's input here as they come in, and we had one choke point, which was the strategic initiatives officer, who take all that information in and once again apply it, taking into account the Emergency Measures Act in the province as well. So we can highlight the fact that everything is updated. We have the bylaws had significant changes, which is why it wasn't just an update, it was a full repeal and replace. So we can definitely put a package or a bit of an information session together to provide to the public through Jessica. I'll work on that.
Is there like the last time, this would have been brought to council back, does it go back 1999? How far does this go back?
For the bylaw, yes.
Yeah, so we replaced it, same as our zoning development bylaw.
So significant changes in that, in the bylaws.
And does it address backup, emergency generator backups? Like that's always been a concern.
Yes, we do have a record of those.
Right.
City-owned and buildings that we have, and also some of the public buildings that we have MOUs with.
Yeah, so that's all part of the bylaw if anyone wants to see it
All part of the
online.
plan, yes.
It's all in the plan, your worship.
Yeah. No,
Really
just-
clearly laid out.
So it's just for the public record.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
just to add any new backups, is there a process through that bylaw, or is that just, like, for example, if churches want to get involved?
Yeah, that comes into the plan, so we have the MOUs with those, and we'll be reinitiating those for 2026. They were all signed for 25, so we'll be visiting with our community partners. And part of the messaging that we put out about the update will be to extend that opportunity to other willing community, my apologies, community groups that want to donate their time, facilities, whatever it takes to help with the emergency management process.
And that's why this is an opportunity that, we can use that in any PR, public relations that we do on bringing in this new emergency management operations bylaws, that, we want people to be aware that working collaboratively, cooperatively with other organizations to provide backups, warm zones, or places just that with electricity is gone, we're out of power. Like with rolling blackouts, we don't know what's gonna happen. So this is a good time to be prepared for.
It definitely is, and we'll advise again of the three different sort of entities that we have with comfort centers, reception centers and shelters. We'll break that down for the public as well, so we'll get some good messaging out there, that's a great idea.
And this, just the last question, so I remember that cold spell that we had in, I think it was February of 2023. And we had to go through the emergency EMO province to declare a emergency. Does
This streamlines that
this
process. We can
streamline,
put
so
in
we
the-
can go right into
If we need
EMO
emergency.
action and provide comfort centers, warming centers? Okay, perfect, thank you.
So I'd like to have someone that will, good to move this to
Move.
council? Moved and seconded.
Yeah.
Councillor Dunn, do you have any questions on this?
No, I guess not. No, I guess, you know, for the last number of years, we always were talking about the backup generator, right? So for the Sherwood Hall, but it got delayed this year again for the overall, I guess, plan of the Sherwood Hall and that area. So again, it's disappointing because we were, you know, we had it on the agenda for the last 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden now it's gone again. So, you know, I guess that's my only comment.
Did you want to reply to that?
Yeah, I can speak to that, Councillor Duran. In working with both Parks and Rec for that master plan for that Sherwood recreation area, and Public Works as well because they're maintaining the buildings and installing them. So we have had meetings on that, and we will continue to do that. I'll get a timeline if I can for our next committee meeting, just to advise and give an
Because
update.
couldn't, like, again, the temporary, even in the interim, while we're working on the bigger plan, one of the temporary
Whackers.
generators be put into like the Maplewood room or?
Could definitely be. We
I think
just
what
have
he's
to-
most concerned about is that his residents have a place or a location to,
Definitely.
in case of a Fiona, that they know that there's a spot. I think, I'm not speaking for you, is that kind of where you're,
No, that's terrific. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's what we've been working on. And
yes, I agree
like,
with
like I
Councillor.
said, we were.
Mhm.
Is it the rec center or is it the Maplewood? What are we talking about?
I think you'd be better off at the Maplewood room
We
with
had
the
that
kitchen
assessed.
facilities and stuff.
We had that assessed 2 years ago, but once again, the holdup is what is the full plan? They're not gonna take that expense to put something in that's not gonna suit with the new plan, so we're just sort of hedged there because of that issue, but we had a look at for Cody Banks Arena and the backup there for the Maplewood room. That was assessed, so Public Works will have that information I'll be able to find. I don't know about the actual, just the community center itself, if that was.
Well, it would make sense because I'm sure you got a generator going for ice making and
Well,
stuff,
we had to
right?
bring one
So
in.
if you're keeping power going for that and you wanted to bring in the temporary generator to at least have a space that could be provided, it would make sense, but.
No, I don't think do we have a backup?
No, I don't think we
I
do.
don't think we have one for the ice maker.
No, we had
So
to
it
bring
just
one in
melts?
during Fiona. We actually brought one from the mainland during Fiona to keep the ice in.
To keep the ice going, yeah.
Right, so I mean,
Which is
there
not one
is
there.
ways.
There isn't one there. That's what was assessed for what it would need.
And the new Simmons don't have one, does it?
Yeah, no, Simmons does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Simmons does.
Yeah, well, I think that we'll just keep that rate, pushing that right along to make sure that happens, Councillor Duran.
But could I just
Yeah.
ask, if it's not the Maplewood Center, because it would be easier, I think, from a mechanical perspective, and I'm no mechanical engineer, is that it would be easier to set something up for the Sherwood Rec Hall.
Plus, it's easier for people to get in and out, like
Yeah.
they're not going upstairs
That's right,
at the Maple Room.
because you need an elevator to get in to the second level.
Yeah.
So I would suggest if we're gonna do anything, it would be the rec center, and I'm sure that the council from the area would agree with that too.
And that's about the same size as the Maplewood Room, isn't it?
Yes,
If not bigger.
Yeah, with the up and down part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Get floor space on both levels.
And we were,
Once again, I'll revisit, I'll schedule a meeting with Public Works.
Okay.
I appreciate that. We were gonna use the backup one for the police station when they replaced theirs, and then we were gonna do an upgrade for the electrical, and we were gonna, you know, it seems like we're gonna, and then all of a sudden this plan came in, and then that stopped everything. So, you know, if a storm comes or something comes, that my area certainly doesn't have a place to go, and there's a lot of concerned residents in the last one, Fiona, where they could go charge their phones or something, right? So it was up to us, and it's, you know, a lot of people are asking about it, and we keep just getting delayed. So even a backup generator that could go in there and hook it up for a few days would be greatly appreciated.
Hey,
So if,
Is it
you know,
Sherwood Rec Hall? Correct?
yes,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
correct.
That's what I'm saying too.
Well, if Public Works has done the assessment, Chief Mamie can follow up with that, but I think the key is that it's emergency preparedness. So
Yeah.
we wanna be prepared in
Yes.
the case of significant
Yeah.
catastrophe for these situations for long term. And maybe we can have a report at our next committee if we can connect with Public Works.
You brought up the
That would
next
be-
standing committee for Public Works, which is this Wednesday.
Okay, well, you're on that, so
Yes,
maybe
I
you
will.
can do that. That's great.
Take
We'll-
note
we'll
of it
get
right now.
this.
Taking note of it right now.
You'll be
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would appreciate that too, Your Worship.
Uh-huh,
We
exactly.
all would.
Just remember, Councillor Duran, those meetings are open for councillors, so, you know, you can join in. I'll be there tomorrow, and it's, who's the chair? Oh, Councillor Twill. Yeah.
There you go.
Alright.
Thank you for that update.
You knew that.
Thank you. So we're all in favor to move this on to council then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Madam
We've
Chair,
done
I
that.
should say.
So now we will move into a summarized version of the operational report that's in our package. And that is the Deputy Fire Chief Kent Mitchell, excuse me.
Thank you, Chair. As you mentioned, the summarized report, not getting into all the details, but what I will say is 2025 was a year marked by strong emergency response, continued emphasis on training and meaningful progress in recruitment and prevention. And the Charlottetown Fire Department remains committed to protecting the community through professionalism, preparedness, and public service. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Calls, is that the emergency response to calls 96 for December? Is that typical? That's high, eh?
That's pretty typical,
That's pretty
Chair.
average.
Wow,
Yeah, we've had roughly a little over 1,100 calls last year, so.
okay.
Madam
Keep
Chair?
getting the updates. Yes, Councilor Ramsey.
Deputy Chief, 8 new firefighters are scheduled to begin level 1 training. Is that your volunteer base?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just wanna, you just sort of clarify that.
Yep.
It's full, okay, thank you.
Have we met since our first new hire of our relief firefighter, Lindsay?
We have, I
We
think.
have
Yeah.
recognized her, wonderful,
Yes, we did.
wonderful. So much runs together. Okay, are there any other questions specific to this report?
Good.
Councillor Duran?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that update. Vacant building inventory is the next report, and Deputy Fire Chief Kent Mitchell, you're on again.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Just again to summarize this, there's no changes from last presentation, last month's committee meeting. And yeah, so that's the only thing I will add, that there hasn't been any changes, but if you have any questions, sure thing.
You know, Councillor Twill spoke at our last council meeting, you know, on this, and when he was talking about the compassion piece to this, you know,
Yeah.
I think it was really highlighted that there's a lot of compassion that goes into this work. It's not anybody going in excited to have to be dealing with these kind of issues. But I was thinking that, is that part of this bylaw and process, or with, like, how do you, I don't understand what he was asking for, cause first of all, I was online, so it was a bit challenging.
I
Do you-
think what I took from it is that he's just, it's more about cleaning up your property and all that. But like some of these properties have been abandoned for years. Like there shouldn't be any more compassion going in there because there's nobody living there. But I think it's the ones that are already staying in their own residence and then they're trying to get it all cleaned up at the same time. That's what I took from it.
Well, maybe I'll look
I
for
mean, we're not gonna cook them
clarification
out of
from you.
it, but
Well, I can say this much, Deputy Fire Chief Kent Mitchell doesn't use a big stick policy here.
no.
I think your efforts to work, and that goes out to Todd Sutcliffe. Todd is our bylaw enforcement officer. He uses a lot of diplomacy, he uses a lot of empathy. So I know that Councillor Duran had to answer the question at that at our
Yes.
last meeting, but all I know is I didn't get into it because I understand that we have a police services and a fire services that is very accommodating, and they don't use the big sick policy. They use a policy that, look, you have to clean up or you have to, or we'll clean up, and there'll be a cost.
Yeah, we'll work with you.
And I think when we change that whole dilapidated buildings, unsightly premises and so forth to where it's up to the bylaw enforcement officer or our fire service to come in and issue a warning and a follow-up, whether it's a fine or something that it has consequences to it, I think it's been working very well, and
And I think it is to be mindful, it's about safety. So if these places aren't safe, they're not going into, like you said, with the heavy stick. They're
Yeah.
wanting to make sure that people are safe, that the area is safe, and they do that while they are trying to work with property owners.
And Madam Chair, these guys are the professionals, okay? So if there's anything about the fire code, about live fire and life safety, it's the Mamies, Tim Mamie, Kent Mitchell, and our fire staff that know, you know, how to approach this, and if it's endangering, you know, immediate, if there's an immediate danger for lives and property, you guys have the background and the education to say, look, we have to do it now.
It is subjective though, like when you're looking at unsightly, like again, you know, what is unsightly? To one person, it might be different, and I didn't know if there is like something that other jurisdictions use when they're determining if your grass is too long. Is that one person's opinion if your grass is too long, or is there actual like something that you could put in place to
I think it
protect
is.
our bylaw officers and our firemen?
But you're talking about unsightly and abandonment, which are,
In his buildings, but this
Yes.
is where it gets really confusing, cause Todd deals with, under the other,
yeah, Todd gets the
is
whole,
the
yeah.
unsightly around grass. This is where it really, you know,
Verbiage.
even being on this committee and trying to really comprehend the two differences, cause one is safety, like building safety, and one is unsightly. And I think we're mixing up the two areas a little bit.
So it's the dilapidated, on-site dangerous. So dangerous comes in when fire service recognizes there's a life safety issue here, right? Correct, Ken?
That's right, yes.
Right.
There's
And you
that's
don't
what
come
I'm-
in and
There's
say,
different
look,
mechanisms, just if I can jump in there.
yeah, go right ahead.
All these type of properties that end up on the vacant building list have been done with fire and police, fire law, fire inspectors, and building inspector consultations. So we take that into consideration and
It's coordinated.
Take action, yes, it's coordinated.
But that's where it's confusing, your worship, is that's that extreme end that you're dealing with, but it's the unsightly piece. Like, is there better wording that can separate them a little bit but kind of keep them under the same umbrella? And Melanie's here, I don't know if that's something we can look at, is as far as if your grass is too long, you have garbage in your yard, is a bit different than your building's not safe and you're not secure and the roof's gonna come in and, you know, there's a difference that we're talking about, but I think we use them together a lot in council. That's what I'm wondering, is there a way to clarify that somehow? And we can look, maybe Melanie, if we have an opportunity, just to see what other places use for these kind of bylaws. They're collaborative. If your house is falling down and chances are it's unsightly, but it's a different level. So it's how do we make that a little bit more easy to understand?
So could I ask about 54 Maple Avenue? Is that the Deuce SF?
Yes, that's going, that'll be off the list
Yeah, so
next month.
that was already dealt with, but it's been taking some time, and I
Yeah.
know, sure the councilors wondering the same,
Yes, that's right.
wondering where are we at with it. Same with the.
So work started last week, that was contracted out. And
Yes.
they're ready to move that building.
and
It
same
is
with-
being moved, is it?
So is it actually a dangerous building if we're selling it for somebody to live in?
No, it was a vacant, it was identified as a vacant.
Vacant, so vacant and then different levels within,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah, we need to break this down and make it like grade 3 languages. Councillor Deputy Mayor Yankoff always uses for the normal people like me that don't follow these bylaws easily. If we could, we'll have a little more discussion on that as we go. Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Duran?
No, I don't. I know the building, the tractors were in there and they're gonna put the beams in, but I guess the snowstorm was supposed to be moved last Friday. So the snowstorm came and it's still not moved, but the basement, there's some holes in it to put the beams through, so any day now they'd be ready to go.
Still on
Wonderful.
So that is the one on Maple Avenue? They're also moving
Yes.
one on Mount Everett Road too, right?
there.
Yes.
Yeah, Cody Banks.
One was torn down, one, okay, perfect.
Good.
So let me, I just asked the CAO, once that house is removed, the property is still ours, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, no, I just was trying to figure it out. No one come in and bought it off us.
What's that?
No, we bought it.
We bought it.
Wonderful.
Thanks to the counselor from the area.
I mean, but we didn't sell it since we bought it, I know
On a
that.
roll today.
Oh, yeah, don't get them going, please. Half go
Alright.
and leave them there.
Well, thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Mitchell, for that update. The final report today is, we had talked last time about kind of gathering some information about, I think you would ask for this, your worship, for what other jurisdictions do as far as school resource officers. I know I had introduced the idea of ever having that opportunity again, and Interim Chief Sean Coombs is here to update us on what he found out.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we put this report together because of the questions you had from last meeting. It's just a brief outline, and then I can do some follow-up questions for you. In Charlottetown, the School Resource Officer Program began in 2010 and was in place until the pandemic in 2022. The program had 2 dedicated officers focused on school safety and youth engagement, but also education and awareness and support for early intervention and prevention efforts. So there was one officer at Charlottetown Rural in that family of schools, and the other was at Colonel Gray in that family of schools. Today, schools remain a key environment where social change, mental health concerns, online harm, and conflicts can be identified and addressed before escalating into criminal or crisis situations. As such, CPS had continued its proactive presence with Charlottetown schools, which include the Healthy Me program for grade 6 students, and a variety of community safety presentations. We also do lockdown drills and traffic assistance and others as well. Through our community policing unit, that's the community action team, CPS has also been able to fulfill ad hoc requests from schools. The unit continues to work directly with schools and is focused on helping to build safer schools, stronger relationships, and healthier outcomes for youth in our community. So some stats, in 2025, the unit completed approximately 65 presentations, activity-based requests at Charlottetown schools, at both the elementary and intermediate and high schools, and there was no cost to the schools or the education department. According to the data from Public Schools Branch, Charlottetown has 37% of all students on PEI. In 2025, CPS received approximately 60 calls for service that originated from the school itself within Charlottetown. These calls range from anything from calls such as intimate images to simple theft and common assault and harassment. You asked for a jurisdictional scan on what other police services were doing. For the most part, in the Maritimes, there are no actual dedicated school resource officers. For instance, Summerside Police, there is no school resource officer. The RCMP and PEI do have a pilot project with Montague Regional High School. It's only on a pilot basis. St. John Police do not. Royal Newfoundland Constabulary and Halifax Regional have something similar to what we are offering right now, where their community services officers fulfill a similar role. So for instance, for City of Halifax, huge city, they have 3 community wellness officers, and just the 3 of them do the entire city of Halifax.
City or HRM?
HRM, all HRM. And also double check that there was no school resource officer at the Citadel.
It's a big school.
Because you want to know that too.
3 community, what did you say? Police?
3 community resource officers
Okay.
for the city of Halifax.
Are they police officers or are they just, they're,
Yeah, just like we have community.
yeah, they're on the brand?
Ours is called Community Action Team. And
Okay,
there's 3 members.
okay,
And we're doing something very similar to what they're doing in Halifax and what the RNC is doing in St. John's in Corner Brook.
Okay.
So happy to answer any other questions other than that. I also have, after the meeting, I've got the specifics of the calls that we were called upon to the different schools and what actually the community action team did in a breakdown as far as talks, lockdown drills, tours of the school, law classes, helping out with teaching in grade 12. You can have a look at that as well.
And it is a valuable service with our young people for sure. I think the biggest thing that I was saying is, and it, you know, we can talk about, I see Newfoundland has some different, to get more specifics about what more they might be doing within the school. It's just that consistent point of contact. So whether we plug that into a community action team that's already existing and doing some work and have them kind of assigned to a specific school so they know, that might be something as simple that would fill a gap of every time you're making a call, whether it's 60 calls or whatever, and someone new is arriving. It's challenging for the officer to come into a building and not really know people and know, you know, where the relationship could be built a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Well, something we could definitely look at is, we've got 3 community action team officers and they are spread quite thin, they've got quite a few tasks already on their plate. But we could take 2 of the 3, one does a lot of traffic enforcement, so we don't wanna move him off that, but the other 2, we could designate one to the Charlottetown rural family and one to the Colonel Gray family.
Something that at least look in to see how it would impact you operationally. I mean, it's something, I understand we're not in a place when we're trying to come up to complement to necessarily go right back to how it was. I just think it's really important to know that was really successful.
Yeah, we could do something like put maybe 30% of their overall duty could be towards contacts with the school.
Get operationally creative. All right,
Madam Chair,
any
Chair.
questions? Yeah?
if I could just comment on that. You know, all of these jurisdictions had community resources officers before.
Mhm.
The reason they all failed is because of financial stability and sustainability. This is the same boat. You can try to put them back in the schools, but unless the province funds these positions, they're not gonna be sustainable. You can't put, pull officers off from core duty functions to do extended services, expect that to be sustainable.
And I guess that's a conversation that we could have, because that was part of a promise that came out in the last election campaign, was that they would look at, for schools interested in still accessing this. So maybe through our or I don't know, strategic priorities, or is that through conversations with you through the CAO office to kind of remind them that that was something that, I guess as a committee,
Well,
is it something we would wanna
yeah.
see?
I would just be very mindful of raising expectations in the schools until those conversations were had.
I don't think schools have a whole lot, I think that they're missing it for sure. And is, it's just to keep it on the forefront if it was ever possibility to revisit or find ways to partner with, whether it be education or justice or someone at the next level.
Yeah, and
I
just,
get that schools are a provincial responsibility.
yeah, and just to conclude on the report there, it's, just keep in mind that when we left the school resource officer program, we just didn't drop schools and not continue on with the work. So it's more on an ad hoc basis based on what the school is looking for and whether we can provide it, and then we step in and help out.
Nope. It's wonderful. Wonderful. Any other questions on this? Councillor Duran?
No, it's a good idea to start looking into it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the update.
So HRM, Madam Chair, the geographical area is 5,600 square kilometers. And they have what, 3?
They have 3 community action team members similar to what we have. And part of their duties is,
It's being stretched.
checking in with different schools.
So the 2 big high schools right in Halifax are Citadel, what's the other one? No, maybe it's in Bedford, what's the name of it?
They're in Dartmouth High.
It is Dartmouth High, and then there's one in
Harbor,
Bedford too.
and there's a whole whack of them.
Auburn is in Cole Harbour with Colton.
Is that right? Yeah, so you got a big area. I know when I was at Prince Street School, we had Constable Gary Clow would come in, would talk about the DARE program.
That's changed to the Healthy Me now.
And I think that police presence had a positive result with students. And I think maybe it was you, CAO, that said that, we have to start at the younger ages. And that DARE program talked about, what did DARE stand for? Drugs,
Drug awareness and recognition.
So
Drugs, alcohol.
he would bring in, you know, samples of everything that was on the street, which I think was an eye opener for grade 5 and grade 6 students. So, you know, I think we have to look at how do we touch base with that level, because if we get them at a younger age,
That's a good point.
and that was, I think,
Yeah.
it came from you, that you were saying,
What we've done since then is we've expanded it quite a bit from back when Constable Clow did it as a DARE program. So we created our own program called Healthy Me, and it was
Healthy what?
Healthy Me.
It incorporated the social media aspect,
That's
the
right.
things that kids were involved with. I was part of with Tim when we wrote that book, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would love to see even that be updated to 2026
yeah,
versus, and schools would be more than willing to collaborate or work, I can say that,
was
knowing-
it focused at the younger ages?
Yes.
Yeah,
They
that's,
replaced the DARE program with the Healthy Me to kind
Yeah.
of start introducing that educational piece around, you know, even like you were saying, how many calls you get with like, kids don't understand sharing pictures, sharing images, what's happening, that, you know, criminally, there's a lot of responsibility that can go with that without them really understanding the impact
Right.
of some of their behaviors.
but
Sorry.
if you plant that seed early enough, right?
Just
About
education.
images that are dangerous, that could get you in trouble, or experimenting with, you know,
Drugs and alcohol, for sure.
well, experimenting with anything. When you get into that, as you know, the junior high years, you get a lot of conflict and issues with, you know, adolescence, body
So much
change.
mental health.
And then when you get into senior high, you're, like, the train's already left the station. I think, you know, Madam Chair, I think that's where we have to go back to, is that younger,
Connection, I agree, yep. You had something you wanted to add, you see?
Well, just to pick up on all the points, you know, I think we all understand the value of having police officers engage with their youth, right, from the earliest ages. The challenge, and you know, is having those resources available to do so, right? Because that is, you know, what in the policing world we would call an extended service. So this is where we need the province to understand the need for support in that area, right? Because it wouldn't be sustainable. Like, we are already, I think, the chief has highlighted that we're doing 65 presentations and talks at no cost already. We're doing more than anyone else in the province currently, and with no financial support to do so, right? To expand upon that, you know, it would be great, but it's not realistic unless there's provincial funding to support it.
Well, and that's where I'd like to figure out then the next steps to have those
Yeah.
conversations, because I think it's really, really important if we're looking at how do we continue to invest in our young people that are gonna be our eventual big people, you know,
Well,
how can anyone not want to?
that is a difficult conversation to get our friends in the Justice Department who seem to have a misguided approach and understanding how to approach drug enforcement to really understand the issues and where they need to put their money.
Well, and I would love to go and sit with somebody and have those conversations, so
so,
how do we
Madam
make
Chair,
that happen?
so could I just ask, under finance community grant, the Building Safer Communities, does that not touch base with, you know, providing that education component, or was that just,
The Safer Communities money is so we as a city allocated some of that to the Boys and Girls Club.
yes, I have that right here.
Yeah, so that was an investment in the youth.
So is there a way that to access some of that public safety Canada money or public
I think
safety
that's
Prince
done,
Edward Island
isn't
money?
Yeah, that was one of the restrictions on that money, is it couldn't be for policing resources of policing. So it had to be into a group like that.
What about updating the Healthy Me portfolio that took over the DARE program? Like, couldn't that be
It couldn't be put into existing programs or,
just new programs?
But we might be able to talk to them in education, because it is an education program, like, you know, where we can say, it wouldn't require a whole lot, I wouldn't think, to be able to update that program.
And Constable Cole, when he came in with the DARE program, he also had vouchers for dilly bars that he, so,
But you know what, it is about helping kids understand and make the connection, you know, that police is a
Yeah.
good thing.
No,
Police is
no,
a really, they're there to make us safe and
like, I think what we need to leave off on is that the Healthy Me program started by Charlottetown Police is a jewel program
Yeah.
and is trying to be modeled by other police departments.
yes,
We have upgraded it, like you said, Chair, to include intimate images and all
Mhm.
the situations that young kids are getting into at an earlier age. But I do take your point that we should always be looking at enhancing it because there's new dangers, new issues that young people come up with on
they're
almost a
way
year-
ahead of us
yearly
as us
basis,
old
there's
people.
new issues, so
Yeah.
we'll take that into
I think the moral of the story here after this conversation is that we gotta set up a meeting with education department. Because as we all know, and we've all found out for 100 years, the province wants us to carry the ball all the time. Financially, and everything like that, but we, as you said, we gotta sit down with them, said this program works, like what can you do for us? Would you say?
I'd like the opportunity, yeah, for sure, to look at what we need to do, and can we do that through you, Brad? Set up a meeting?
The chief can. That's something within,
you'd like a meeting set up between who? The members of the Department of
Yeah, just-
Education and council to discuss full-time schools or
Not all of
something?
council.
Not all council.
I think that,
this committee.
yeah, our committee and
On the date of the Protective Services Committee meeting or a separate date?
probably better to have a separate meeting, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Just to talk
Or
to
just during your committee, standing committee meeting.
possibilities. Yeah.
And-
well,
yeah.
Good? Yep, I'll definitely do that.
But the thing is, before you even have them into the committee, is it gonna sit with justice, is it gonna sit with education, how they need to kinda
Hmm.
look at it, was a promise
Who's to
through
follow under?
education, right? That we would have more funding for policing in schools, do you recall that? That was an
I don't
election
recall that, do you recall that?
commitment,
well, I call a lot of promises.
right, but it might be nice to revisit with them. Maybe I'll just, or, I don't know, can we just have a meeting?
Yeah,
Like,
I would.
it's just a conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
Where are we at, how do we start, and are we interested in starting, and I guess if they're not interested, it's a moot point, but worth a conversation.
That's right, I agree with that.
Okay.
I'll move that, your Madam Chair.
We'll figure it out, Brad, maybe you and I can have a conversation after to see how to make that happen. Is there any introduction to new business for our meeting today?
See none.
See none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
Seconded, everyone have a wonderful day.